Hope is something divine, and how you know in a way if you're meant to continue on with someone is because hope is belief that God has a plan for a future, for a prosperous future, for something, right? Like if I have hope in this business I'm just starting in it, everything, the odds are stacked against me, but if I say I have hope, that means I believe that God has a good and prosperous plan for it to come up in the future that I may not see signs now, but later I will. But if you're saying like, oh, I have a feeling that I'm going to date this person, but I'm not having a hopeful feeling, then that means that feeling is, it could be true, right? You probably will date that person. But if you don't have hope about it, if you get together simply because you guys like each other, but there's no hope, that's because it's not God's plan. But if you have hope about being with someone that you're not even dating, that's because if you're hopeful about it, if you're optimistic, that means that your heart knows that hope is divine. So then therefore, that is belief that God has a good and prosperous plan for you too. And just because you believe it doesn't mean it'll happen. No, that's not how it works. Because God's plan happens regardless of what you think will happen or don't think will happen. It happens because God gives us something to aspire for. He gives us something to have inspiration for, and the forms of heavenly and divine feelings, such as having hope, because hope is not human. Hope is divine. When you have hope, it means that you feel that God has a good plan about something for you. So if there's someone important to you that you've met in your life and you say, I'm hopeful that we are going to be united by God, that's because God is putting that feeling of hope to give you hope. And the way I say that is because God is putting that feeling of, I believe and I feel that God wants this to happen, and He has a good and divine and prosperous plan for this in the future. Maybe not now, maybe in the future. And so that hope is that you have that feeling that it's something divine and God-given to be prosperous. And that's for anything. It could be a business, it could be to have a child. Maybe you haven't been able to have a child for many, many years, but you still have that hope inside you. Because hope is very tricky, because we can lose hope when someone convinces us that is something that comes from within ourselves. No. Hope is divine and divine only, because you cannot have hope in yourself because you yourself are not capable of achieving miracles, because you are not a miracle worker. You can't ever have hope in yourself because the odds are always stacked against us. Humans, we're imperfect. Anything could go wrong. Any one of our organs could fail at any given second, no matter how strong, no matter how prepared we are. But in God, He's always our stronghold, and we can always have the hope in Him. And how do you know that hope sincerely is divine? If you spend time with God every day, He will tell you when the feelings you have inside of you are from Him rather than yourself. And it's just a feeling, you just know. Woo! It's another day close to my prosperous future.